Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about neck knives, and appropriately, Batman is in the background. Remember all those cool gadgets Batman had? Seems like he had something for everything, and that's kind of what a neck knife is meant to be. Kind of that little thing that's a little something extra when you need something extra. And so we're going to be talking about the neck knives. This one in particular, I just got this. It's a Smith Wesson, and I like this little knife. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the history of the neck knives, which I think may surprise you. So if you'd like to hear more about that, go ahead and check out the video. Alright, welcome back to the Fortified Castle. Today we're going to be talking about neck knives. I want to say hi to all my viewers. I also want to thank all my viewers for all that you do, your comments that you send. A lot of viewers are sending me pictures now to my email. I really enjoy those. If you put a comment on there when you send me a picture that it's okay to use it, I'll go ahead and put that out there. Let other people see your knife and talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to do that without your permission, though. So to me, Gmail is a private conversation. So if you'd like to do that, that's fine. If not, that's okay too. I enjoy getting your comments and your feedback. So we're going to talk about this little knife here. I picked this up because I'm impulsive and I'm a knife addict, and I don't use neck knives, okay? I don't use them. But I was in Tractor Supply and saw this for $14, and so I said, why not? And I actually like this knife. It's got G10 scales on here, 8CR13 MOV steel, I believe, because all the packaging said was 8CR. When I went to Smith Wesson's website, they didn't have anything else to add to that other than 8CR, so I guess it's 8CR13. But anyhow, I imagine it's enough. This is a little tiny blade. So overall, this knife is a little under 7 inches. What? That can't be. Let me measure it again. Yeah, I'm sorry. A little under 5 inches. And that's one of the things I like about this knife. As we get into neck knives, you'll see what I mean. But it is very unobtrusive. I put this on, wore it around for a little while. Very light, maybe under 2 ounces, maybe 1.7 ounces. You can see pretty thick stock right there. This is a pretty cool knife. So you get 3 fingers there, but if you choke up here, you can see your 4th finger starts to get on it. Just a really good grip on that for a little tiny knife. And really, here's another little tiny knife here. And you get more grip on this than you do on this little tiny folder here. And we would use this all day long for EDC tasks. And when we like little knives. Yeah, you know, I like the size of this knife. It fits good. It fills my hand. I think the width is good. This thing has really impressed me. It snaps into the sheath. Okay, I tested the lanyard on a neck knife. You definitely want something that'll pop loose, and so a lot of companies are using these type of contraptions nowadays, and you pull on it and it just pulls apart, but it's strong enough to hold the knife for everyday purposes. And the reason that's important is you don't want to get have this around your neck, get it caught on something, and have it choke you. So there's that. These are some other ones. This is a cold steel. I mentioned before I don't like neck knives, so you can see I've got it set up for belt use. And I've really enjoyed using this little fixed blade. I think there is a place for these little tiny fixed blades. And that's what I use this for. Just heavier use, EDC task. Used it a lot when I was trucking. And this is another one. This is a Pendleton Mini Hunter from Cold Steel. I like this for a neck knife a lot better because I like this drop point design over this extravagant design here. This is just going to fit down in your chest a lot better as it's hanging down. And this knife, I bought it to be a caper, a small skinning knife. So it's not really a neck knife, but you definitely can use it for that purpose. And knife companies are definitely a lot of options in this category where you just have a straight knife. These are almost 7 inches though. So you can see that right there. They're almost 7 inches. It's a little under 7 inches. And that's about the minimum on a knife like this. And that's why I really don't like neck knives. It's big and cumbersome around your chest. So just give you an idea there. If you look at this cold steel right here, okay, you need a better view here. Just there you go. So if you look at that cold steel and then look at this little belt knife right here, you can see how close in size they are to each other. And you know, these little neck knives aren't as small as you think they are. And that's one of the things that look small and cute on the advertisement, but when you get them, they're not so small and cute. So that's almost the size of that. It's about an inch shorter than this belt knife here. You know, so they're pretty big. And I guess that's why I never got on board. There's a Spyderco Tenacious. This is an Almar, a little bigger in comparison to it. This is your Canoe in comparison to it. All right. So let's talk about the history of these things for a minute. You know, where do we get these things? So I don't remember. You know, I think around 2000 these started becoming popular. Once you had these thermoplastic sheaths that have good retention and would hold a knife upside down, I think that's when they started getting popular. At first, it was like the bushcraft guys were carrying these things around. Oh, I love my neck knife, and it's bouncing on their chest and dangling down in the way where they're cooking stuff. And there's a case to be said. You know, these have pros, and so there is a pro with that. You always have a knife on you if it's around your neck. So if you're away from camp for whatever reason and you get caught in a dangerous situation, you know, you have a knife. So that is a pro for these. After the prep and bushcraft kind of craziness, I think they moved into tactical, and that's where it really gets crazy. And so guys started, knife companies started designing these as a tactical alternative. Again, there's a pro to that. you can conceal these underneath your shirt, and it's always nice to have another option. And so that's the whole idea behind a boot knife, right? So people have carried boot knives for years. I've carried a boot knife before. And that's really the idea about a boot knife, is you have a hidden additional option if you need it. And so these do fill kind of a role in that, but honestly, you know, in a tactical role, these things are not your best option. If it was your only option, yeah, it'd be good. But again, I find this really uncomfortable underneath my shirt, and they're really not noticeable. And so if you had this underneath your shirt, it's going to poke out some. If you had a jacket on or a loose shirt, you know, maybe that wouldn't be as big as a deal. But I find that you know, that option is just an option. It's not the best option. And so these things really go back. I think a lot of people will point to Native Americans. And so there's a picture up there. And the thing about Native Americans, they carry these knives around their neck. A lot of different tribes carried neck knives around their necks, but they were big. These were 6-7 inch knives that they carried in sheaths and dangled them from their neck. I think probably the thought process there, one, they didn't have pockets. Two, you're carrying a bow and arrow, and so when you've got your hand on the arrow and your hand on the bow, both hands are occupied. And the neck knife was just a good place. From here, you can go right to your chest and pull your knife out. And so in a prepared type of fighting, confrontation type of scenario, you know, that makes a lot of sense. Having that close to your hands, which are up where your primary weapon is. And that was kind of the deal with Native Americans. They weren't these little tiny knives. They were big knives, mostly. And but actually the neck knife goes way far back. I'm going to show you some pictures into Viking times. And so you see some pictures up there I'm showing you of these. These are little knives, so they look big, but they're really little. And they're new renditions of these old style knives that Vikings wore around their neck. There's a lot of controversy about that. I don't think there's any evidence that male Vikings carried these around their neck. It seems like a good idea that they may have done that, but primarily those that I'm showing you were around a woman's neck. And so women in Scandinavia wore these neck knives, and they were small, and they were typically used for everyday tasks, you know, EDC. And they would carry them in pouches around their neck. We know that from grave sites. And so neck knife definitely goes back at least to 700 AD. A lot of people think it goes back a little further. I'm going to show you one more picture here. This is the knife that Otzi, the Iceman, carried. This is a guy they found up in the Alps when the ice melted. He was buried in the ice, perfectly preserved, 5,000 years old. So he stretches back into the Stone Age, and the knife you're seeing is a flint knife. It was found in a pouch of bast, B-A-S-T. That is a fibrous kind of material you get off of the bark of trees. And so he used that to make a pouch. And then there was a leather loop on the end of that. All of this stuff was perfectly preserved because of the ice. So he died and was covered with ice, sat up there for thousands of years till he was discovered. And so I'm going to submit to you, researchers have not said this. They said they think he carried it on his belt, which was just basically a string. But I think he probably carried that around his neck. And it's very small. It's a lot smaller than it looks like. Matter of fact, the blade on that flint blade is only about the size of an arrowhead. So I think he carried that as a neck knife to do various tasks. And, you know, we probably have carried neck knives or shoulder knives, slung around your shoulder for a long time, because it was a long time before people got pockets. So, you know, belts extend back as far as you can look, also back at least to 3500 BC, but probably longer. You know, Native Americans wore sashes and they tucked their knives into the sash. That was also true during the Middle Ages. So all of those things probably been used as long as we've been using knives. You know, it makes sense. So hope you enjoyed this video. I really like this knife. So it's not too expensive. It was actually more expensive on websites. This is a knife I would probably use. I see some utility in these things, you know, for a small task that you need to use. If you can handle carrying this around your neck. I've never been able to do that. You know, feel like a dog with a dog collar on or something. But pretty cool knife. I think it's a good value, and I think it's a good neck knife. And if you're into neck knives, I think this would be a good option for you. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it informative. And thanks so much for watching the video and supporting the channel.